How the hell do I feint? A comment I've been receiving a lot, so I'm going to show you how to feint, and we're going to talk about whether it's useful or not in single and multiplayer. So what is a feint? It's quite simply a deceptive move to try and trick your opponent into thinking that you're going to attack. It can be as simple as moving your weapon back and forward or switching your weapon to a different side to attack. Either way, we're trying to trick our opponent into making a mistake. So let's take a look at the controls of it. It's really quite simple. I'm going to start off by moving my mouse to the right and holding down the left mouse button to ready an attack from the right. Then, with the left mouse button still held down, I'm going to move to the left and tap the right mouse button. That's going to do a very brief block, which is going to switch my direction into the second direction that I moved my mouse into. And then you just release the left mouse button to do your attack. So you can move all over the place holding down the left mouse button, change direction, tap the right mouse button, and then you'll move to that direction and release the attack. So one more time with a bit of speed. To do these fancy direction switching feints, left mouse button down, pick a direction, change direction, tap the right mouse button, release everything, boom, there's your feint. So that's the simplest form of a direction switching feint. You might see people doing this sort of crazy nonsense where they're just tapping block all over the place, and you can see when you change direction and tap block, it makes you look like you're having a seizure, but it does make the enemy never really know where you're going to attack from. Although if you do this when they're aggressively attacking you, you are going to get murdered. The ultimate aim of these direction switching feints is to make your opponent block in the wrong direction. And then you have just a simpler feint like I showed just now. It's just bringing the weapon forward to make it look like you're going to attack when you're actually not. Perhaps drawing out an unnecessary block or making the opponent think he'll be able to attack before you. This is done with the same controls but just not changing direction. Or you can try a feint that just does a lot of movement to confuse the enemy. So I'm going to attack from the right in this case, but then I'm going to block high but attack from the left. So they never really know what I'm doing. They may think I accidentally blocked up and that they'll be able to sneak an attack in. But my second attack will already be on the way, so it might be able to sneak in on them. But knowing how the direction switching feints work in the controls should allow you to be pretty creative with this and to figure it out for yourself. So have a mess around with different kinds of feints and see which ones work for you. And do remember that you can cancel out of an attack that you've already launched. So once you've readied, you release to do the attack, but you'll have a very small window where you'll be able to cancel it and do a block instead. This can also be a way to feint. You block and then you do an attack from that same side. So how effective is feinting in single player? Well, long story short, in my experience so far, it definitely can have its uses, perhaps with quicker weapon types. The problem is that the AI is so damn aggressive that that really is a good counter for feinting players. So while you're trying to switch sides to set up a second attack, they've already launched an attack that's just hit you in the face anyway, so your feint isn't going to work. I have found though that the simple same side feints can be pretty effective at tricking the AI, like these two here. Let me slow that down for you. So you see I'm going to block her attack, and then I'm going to pretend to attack, stop the attack, and then straight away go again. So she fell for my first attack, tried to block it, then straight away tried to attack me again, but my second attack was already on the way, and I hit her first. So a successful feint. And the same thing again, I'm going to attack, feint it, she's going to block, try to attack me, I'm going to get her with a second hit. So you can see there's certainly a place for that kind of feint. And sometimes you'll be able to sneak in a direction switching feint with smaller weapons. But with big heavy two-handed weapons, I find that the enemy is just too damn aggressive for it to really be that effective. As you can see here, I'm trying to get one in, but the enemy is always landing before me because he's super freaking aggressive. So mess around with the feints and learn to make them work, because it can improve your combat game. Don't be one of these exploit noobs that just circles around the enemy AI because they can't figure out how to hit you. Using exploits won't make you any better at Bannerlord combat. And as for multiplayer, can they be useful there? Well, the simple answer is hell yes. It's much easier to trick a player than it is to trick the AI. All kinds of feints can be effective, although you do have sometimes the same problem that you have in single player. People are damn aggressive sometimes, and that is pretty punishing when trying to use feints, so you do have to be careful of what kind of player you're running into. If they're someone who's just running around spamming attacks, then you probably don't want to try and feint them. You'll need to look for good openings with proper footwork and distancing. But all kinds of feints can potentially be useful in multiplayer. Simple same side feints can be good. Direction switching feints can be great for catching people out, as you see in a lot of these clips. And there is even a place for those silly kind of seizure feints where you're blocking around all over the place. But it's still early access and early days for Bannerlord, so we'll see what changes over the next year or so. but for now at least, you hopefully know how to feint. You can use it somewhat in single player and definitely in multiplayer, so go ahead and get practicing. I hope you've enjoyed this, thanks for watching, I will see you in the future.